Tell me this whole series of things God's revealed to you about America.
Yeah, so on March the 9th, 2024, just recently on a Saturday morning, I wrote it down because I want to get the details right and I'll share it. I had this intense dream on March the 9th that seemed prophetic about this eclipse that everyone is talking about in April of 2024. And in this dream, I saw this eclipse being like a marker in time that would trigger the start of an awakening, a spiritual awakening, a national awakening happening here in America, and that it would last, or it'd start in April 2024, and it would conclude around July of 2025. And so in the dream, I moved swiftly through time. It was like I was in the present, the past, and in the future. And as I moved through time, it started in April 2024, which is, of course, coming soon. And this eclipse that was crossing over Texas, and it was leading to a significant event coinciding with the conception. So close to around this time, there would be a significant event that would announce, we'd see it in the news, we'd hear about it, that is around the time of this eclipse, that this coinciding metaphorical conception has began, or a rebirthing of America, so to speak. And so something would happen in April that we would know on the world stage, the national stage, this has happened, the conception's happened. And then about 4, 5, 6 months into the pregnancy, metaphorically speaking, there would be birth pains that would hit the nation right before the elections coming up in November. Now, we know that the elections are coming up in November of 2024, and I did not see who would win the election, and I don't want to prophesy anything that I don't know clearly from the Lord and wouldn't submit to others to examine. But what I did see was a false birth, a traumatic event tried to cause the birth to happen prematurely, like an epic October surprise, and not necessarily has to be October, but sometime, August, September, October, right before the election, that there would be this significant event that would be reminiscent of historically what's been called an October surprise. Now, it intensified America's division, this thing before the election. It intensified the division to a frightening level that would last from the end of summer, early fall 2024 until July of 2025.
Excuse me, when you say division, what do you mean?
An intensifying division, political, spiritual division in America, which is already here. It's already pronounced. But whatever this pre-election event is, or whatever happens, would pronounce those divisions and hostilities even more, or it would go to a frightening level. The next part of the dream, Sid, shifted to strangely before I was born. It was in 1968. And in 1968, I was given this old newspaper that was reporting to me the historical assassinations of Bobby Kennedy Sr. and Martin Luther King Jr. during the 1968 Democratic Chicago Convention. Now, as I said, in the midst of all of this chaos, America was awakening to the corruption within and the real need for a restoration. And it was like an economic shaking, a financial shaking, and a political shaking and spiritual shaking. Now, that was what stood out to me as I was handed this newspaper that told me about those 2 assassinations that happened the year of the 1968 Democratic Convention. Well, coincidentally, the Democratic Convention in 2024 is also held in Chicago. Yeah, so 1968, we're now in in 2024. Now, the dream went into a third phase and it concluded in July 2025. Now, this would have the baby being conceived in April of 2024. 9 months later would have the birth being in January of 2025, which obviously those are when our inaugurations happened, but from April 24 to January of 2025. And so here's what I saw in the dream. I saw the baby being born, and the baby was wrapped in an American flag, but even though it was born, it needed to be put in an incubator, like in the maternity ward, because it needed continued care. Because even though the birth happened at the right time, it had tried to happen 2 or 3 months before that, but then it was born in January, but it was in an incubator from January until July of 2025. So when I saw the baby born, I saw him wrapped in an American flag and put in one of those little baby beds that you see in the maternity wards. And at the top of the bed there, they have the name and the birth. And I saw January 2025, and the baby's name was America. So it was a rebirthing of America. And I came to this conclusion, I came to the conclusion that this dream portrays an awakening that would begin in April 2024, coinciding with a 40-week-long painful and traumatic pregnancy. A traumatic event would trigger the chaos before the elections that would last for several months. The birth would occur in January 2025, about 2 months after the elections in November, requiring the care of the baby born in January in the care of an incubator until July of 2025. Now, the 1968 Chicago Convention part of the dream seemed to indicate to me a threat of a coming assassination attempt, or attempts, plural. And I just want to say, I think prayer and alerting people and getting people to see this, the importance of this, and getting this out to as many people as they possibly can, we can avert disaster. We can minimize damage, just like in the Bible. When Hezekiah was told, get your house in order, you're about to die, he turned his face to the wall and repented and sought the Lord, and God added 15 years to his life because Hezekiah's heart and mind was changed. Same with Nineveh. By the time Jonah got his act together and got to Nineveh, he came preaching that judgment was coming, but the judgment was put off, just like Hezekiah's prophetic word was an accurate word. Hezekiah was told, get your house in order, you're going to die. It wasn't a false prophecy. It was just human behavior and prayer and interaction with God can minimize or delay or minimize the damage on the things that were warned are coming. And I feel this is a time of awakening about to begin in America. And it's going to be it's going to be quite a bit of intensity over the next 16 months.